Wireless LAN Professionals podcast, episode 172.
Well, I think if they're losing interest in the technology and basically the wireless world, I think I'd point them in the direction of podcasts like this and so many of the other kind of white papers and because there's such a great Wi-Fi community and there's people that I bump into that sort of in different projects, and there's so many sort of great people out there that so passionate about the subject that I think sort of connecting with those people can help inspire anyone who's kind of lacking in their own career.
Wireless LAN Professionals is a place to educate, inform, encourage, and entertain those involved in wireless LANs. This Wireless LAN Professionals podcast is an audio manifestation of these goals. Our host is a wireless LAN veteran, consultant, designer, and teacher, Keith Parsons. And now, the podcast for Wireless LAN Professionals by Wireless LAN Professionals.
Well, Ashley, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. So for those who don't know you, introduce yourself. What do you do? Where are you working? Where are you living now?
So I live in Oxfordshire in England.
Okay.
I work for a company called Daisy Communications. I've been there just over 3 years. I work as a wireless consultant. And well, I suppose I probably got into Wi-Fi probably about 8 years ago.
So tell us a little bit about Daisy. Is it Daisy Communications, Daisy Group? What?
There's several names to it. Okay. I think I work for the slice, which is Daisy Partner Services. So the bit that we do is we work with partners to deliver projects. So it's quite often sort of wireless deployments that we work on. So we'll often have a large customer that doesn't have their own kind of IT slice that they'll engage.
So you almost serve as that IT component for them in the wireless space.
Exactly,
what are some of the typical type of clients that you're working with? Are these huge, small, medium?
Yeah, well, I mean, so the couple that I'm working on at the moment is, so one is Thames Water, which is obviously a large utility company that covers kind of London, Kent, and kind of all of the Thames Valley. Another one is quite a large government department that I'm working with at the moment. So they're fairly large.
Yeah, I guess so. So you said about 8 years you started in Wi-Fi technologies. Yeah. Why Wi-Fi? What drew you to that?
Well, I studied as part of my master's degree. A large part of that was it was in IT communications, and a large part of that was kind of like the early days of spread spectrum and things like that. So I kind of got an interest for RF and that kind of things then. Well, I also did a physics degree as an undergraduate, so of course I learned electromagnetism, RF as part of that as well. So it kind of made sense. My career started with a few years working as an electronics engineer. Okay. But I felt I knew it wasn't where I wanted to go. I wasn't able to develop it as far and as fast as I wanted to. So I fortunately wireless technology came along and it seemed a good one to jump on.
What doors open? What actually got you working in Wi-Fi? What was kind of those first steps that you were getting paid to play with Wi-Fi? So
the very first was when I was working for a educational IT provider. Okay. And I was working on a service desk, and some of the problems that the customers were having were to do with wireless, and I was always the one to put my hand up and pick up those. And I just felt I had more of an affinity with it and a kind of understanding, because most people that work in IT, they don't tend to have the kind of fundamentals in RF that I did. So I felt this is my niche, and I just kind of focused from there, really.
What was your first actual
wireless job?
Wireless job.
So there's a part of BT, which is their Wi-Fi side, which is kind of their public Wi-Fi side. It's called BT Open Zone. I worked in a NOC there, so providing kind of second line support. That was quite good. I mean, that was working for a lot of so what they tend to have is they deploy their flavor of Wi-Fi in kind of lots of coffee shops. Okay. They use Starbucks, Cafe Nero, those sort of places. And, they'll deploy their wireless there and then charge customers to use it. Or if you're a BT customer, then it's free. So but we would support that technology and that infrastructure.
Very interesting. If you could go back to your younger self as you began your wireless LAN career, what what's some advice you'd give yourself?
I think, well, with the benefit of hindsight, I would have probably moved into wireless first. I wouldn't have taken my trip into electronics.
Yeah.
But then I think because I went the wrong way first, I know more that I'm on the right track now. So
That's good. Yeah.
it probably works both ways.
Yeah. So it wasn't like wasted time. It was actually, okay, you got that out of the way, and now you know where to really focus. So maybe kind of along the same lines, this question is, what's something you think you did right early on as you began?
I think just getting my certifications.
Okay.
I think it was probably, I mean, when I was working on the IT service desk and I kind of first started getting a flavor for wireless, I kind of thought, right, I need to get into this. How do I do it? And started looking into it. And one of the big ways to sort of show yourself to step above is to get those certifications so that when you start applying for jobs, they know straight away that, you know, you're qualified to do it. So
yeah, that's great.
And it works really well, I think, for headhunters and things like that, because they'll tend to use just those keywords.
Yeah.
And so your CV will just jump out for them. And so they'll just pick that up straight away, and you'll get so many more opportunities, so many more interviews.
So I heard you also say earlier when you first started out, and certain Wi-Fi problems would come to the help desk, you were to always say, hey, I'll take those. I'm guessing that's something that would be helpful. Probably advice too, maybe someone starting out, is jump on whatever you can that comes your way.
Definitely. Yeah. Just any projects that come along, you know, just put your hand up, just as much experience as you can get, because that's the best way of learning, you know, that and obviously self-study, but you know, to actually get sort of deep dive experience in the field fixing stuff is, that's the way to go.
You talked about headhunters kind of looking at, so if someone's out there and they're trying to maybe move to the next level or get paid more or something, they have the certifications, would that be something you add to LinkedIn to let people know that you have those certifications? What would be a practical way to let those searching know?
I think LinkedIn is certainly nowadays is a really good way of doing that, because people will search for those certifications. Make sure that they're very prominent on there, even sort of in your title. You know, I've seen people put them there.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
I mean, back when I was kind of looking hard for work, it was more kind of recruitment websites, things like monster.com and cwjobs.com, and just uploading your CV to as many of those as possible with all these with all your certifications in your CV, so it's easy searchable, so that headhunters can pick up those kind of keywords and key skills as well.
What certifications are you recommending?
I went down the Cisco route to begin with. So I went down, sort of CCNA, then CCNA Wireless, then CCNP Wireless. I found the CCNP Wireless really useful. When I did it, they had there was a specific qualification just for site survey, which I found so useful because that's where I started. And, I found that one really good just to sort of just clarify my own knowledge, really. So I would really recommend those. The CWNP ones are also really useful as well, because obviously they're vendor agnostic, and also they tend to go more into the RF solutions as well, which is so important to have that kind of fundamentals. How
are you investing in yourself still now?
I think just continue the same, just constantly chasing those projects, the interesting projects. I mean, the way we work, where an email will tend to come in and just sort of say, does anyone know about this technology? Has anyone worked with this before? Who would like to get involved with this? And, if it's something that interests you and you want to get involved in, always just put your hand up and get in there. And even if it's not something that you know about, once you get involved in a project on it, you're going to soon be forced to learn about it. So it's a great way of that kind of self-motivation.
Commit and then learn all you can along the way.
Yeah. I mean, that's the deep dive approach, right?
Exactly. We'll learn it by the end of this for sure.
Yeah. So it's the first time for everything. So I think, one of the mistakes that I've made is probably thinking, I can't do that. I know nothing about ISE. I know nothing about Prime or whatever, and then, but the thing is I'm not going to know until, I've kind of used it. I've studied it. I've been forced to find out about it.
Are there other technologies that complement Wi-Fi or other areas that you think are helpful that kind of feed into the Wi-Fi industry that it's good to stay on top of?
I think sort of having the fundamentals in RF and electromagnetism has certainly really helped me. I think also security is just it's just the underpinnings of a lot of wireless technology. So having a good understanding of that, and because it's security, constantly that cat and mouse scenario. So it's always changing, it's always evolving. So I mean, that's something you really need to keep on top of.
What's something on the horizon you think that is you're excited about, or something that you're kind of interested to see develop, either in the standards or just something coming down the pipe that you think is going to affect us as Wi-Fi engineers and professionals?
I think AX is going to be, it's a great idea. I love the way, I mean, when AC came out and we were kind of like looking at thinking, this is great. And then just taking a step back and going, hang on a minute, this doesn't quite work in practice, does it? You know, sort of taking a massive slice of the spectrum like that. It's kind of greedy. And I think I like to, when I explain it to people and why they sort of go, why shouldn't we use the 80 megahertz channel widths? And I kind of say, well, it's kind of, if you imagine yourself as a fleet car manager, do you buy 10 kind of normal hatchbacks, or do you buy 2 Ferraris? You know, they'll get there quicker in the Ferraris, but only 2 people can work at once, you know? And the Ferraris are still going to get stuck in the same traffic as the rest of the hatchbacks. So, you know.
Great. Is there a mistake you're seeing in the industry, a lot of people making, that you wish you could stop from happening?
I think, well, I tell you, one thing I see is just an assumption that like a wireless survey is quite a basic task, that it's not something that requires kind of any skills or knowledge. I mean, as long as you can use the software, you can just go out and do it, right? And I see a lot of kind of poor quality work because of that. Mm-hmm. And it's quite often work needs to be redone because of that. And I think because it's considered an entry level kind of position to be a site surveyor, I just think it should be, you know, picked up a lot more and a lot more of a respected position.
Just because of how it ends up affecting everything.
Yeah. I mean, it's essentially, you know, RF design, isn't it? Which is, you know, and like you say, the end customer needs to invest in your recommendations. So
is there a project you're involved with or have been involved with that you're really proud of?
I did work one fairly recently. It was for quite a major bank here in the UK. So that, I mean, they had offices in Canary Wharf, so kind of where all our kind of skyscrapers are. And so where we were deploying wireless in there, because they had such large open plan floors, and it was like a wireless first solution. So we were putting in a really high density of access points, and it was just it was great because it was a completely different approach to surveying and trying to work out how to get the coverage out there, because we were more worried about constraining the coverage and keeping like the RF contained and to not, you know, interfere with any others. So I think that worked well, you know. And I mean, we were learned sort of tricks, for example, using the direction antennas to kind of focus down to the ground and sort of keep them in keep the coverage pattern, you know, that's a nice narrow kind of small oval shape. So just to cover 1 or 2 decks.
It's nice when you have the permission and the budget to be able to do that, right?
Yeah. Well, they were a bank, so money wasn't problem.
You talked a little bit about a mistake you've made in the past, was the assuming you couldn't do anything. Is there any other big mistake, or maybe even a minor mistake, something that you experienced that taught you something valuable?
Yeah, I mean, I think sort of just along the same lines of just thinking, you know, like, this is out of my reach. I can't achieve it. I mean, that's the one biggest mistake I've sort of done along the road. I just sort of, if I could go back and tell myself, you know, of course you can, of course, you know, go for it.
Very cool. If you could give some advice to someone maybe starting out, or maybe feeling even stalled in their career, and just to kind of get them excited, or, you know, how they can move forward, what advice would you give them?
Well, I think if they're losing interest in the technology and basically the wireless world, I think I'd point them in the direction of podcasts like this and so many of the other kind of white papers and because there's such a great Wi-Fi community and there's people that I bump into that, sort of in different projects, and there's so many sort of great people out there that, so passionate about the subject that, I think sort of connecting with those people can help inspire anyone who's kind of lacking in their own career.
Any favorite piece of equipment you're using these days?
Favorite pieces has always been my spectrum analyzer. I think it's just because it's so simple to just sort of go, this seems a bit strange, and just being able to just put the dongle in and just have a look and see what's going on, and it can just answer so many questions straight away. It's a great one.
What's a typical work week look like for you?
Well, fortunately, it's not typical. So, which is, I think, is what I really enjoy about the role. Like, like each week, I'm kind of, I could be working on sort of longer projects that will, that last months and months, or other ones which are, fairly simple, just a quick survey, design, deployment, fairly quick throughput. But, so it's difficult to say what's a typical week, but, usually a lot of traveling, a lot of meeting people.
How far are you traveling?
So Oxfordshire is quite centrally based in the south, so I'll tend to travel, probably 3-4 hours in any direction. So probably about the most I'll do. But
so in a car,
mostly
in the city.
I mean, if I go to London, definitely on the train, just because it's so car friendly.
What's next for you? Any goals? Any other certifications, or what do you kind of see in your horizon for the next few years? Maybe.
I think I'm at a kind of a junction at the moment, because I'm kind of trying to decide either to carry on down the Cisco route and get the CCIE wireless, or to carry on with the CWNP and go for the CWNE. Okay. So I've been kind of looking at sort of who's got each one, and I think from listening to who's got both, I think the IE wireless is probably the first one to do, and then to go for the CWNE.
How long do you kind of give yourself if you said, okay, I'm going after the Cisco IE? What does that look like for you think?
I'm not good at organizing my own kind of study time. It's things always get in the way of that, but so I think basically what I do is try and wait for a kind of quiet time on the project, or book in some a couple of weeks in advance where I know I'm just going to have some good downtime, and I prefer to set a couple of weeks and just go for it, rather than trying to fit a bit in here and there and around other commitments.
Great. Well, how can people get in touch with you, or if they're interested in what you do or just want to connect, what's the best way to?
So I'm on LinkedIn, so I'll be under Ashley Mead at LinkedIn, and so I'm also on Twitter. I use Mead Wi-Fi on there. Okay. So cool. I don't use Twitter too much, but I'm trying to get more into it, particularly on the professional side. So to only use it for the wireless community on there.
Now you're speaking at Prague, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, give us a little review of what your talk's going to be.
So it's I'm going to look at a lot of so I've titled it Top Tips for Wireless Surveying. So it's just it goes through a lot of kind of mistakes that I've made myself and I've seen others made, and just sort of just review how to avoid those, and also just give people an understanding of where the RF comes into it, and just having a fundamental understanding of that and how that is applied to wireless surveying, and what are the things to watch out for.
Yeah. Well, so what's one of the mistakes, if you could share? I don't want to give away your whole talk, but
well, one of the things I think I've seen people do a lot of is not realize like how much their body absorbs the RF, and how much they can affect. Just by standing in the wrong position, you can lose kind of 5 to 10 dB. So it's just being aware of that kind of thing, and just I explain it as far as it's the 2.4 gigahertz is perfect for vibrating water molecules, and therefore water molecules absorb 2.4 really well. And then sort of ask the question, what do you get in offices that's full of water? Of course, it's the people in the office. So they, so it's just getting people an understanding of that side of it. Really.
Well, I guess if they want to hear the rest of it, they can come to Prague, or it'll eventually be on the YouTube channel as well. So Ashley, thank you so much. Any last parting words of inspiration?
I think, I think if anyone's thinking about getting into wireless as a career, I've been into it for about 8 years now, and I still really enjoy it. I'm still really passionate about it. So I'd really recommend it.
Well, Ashley, thanks again for being here. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Cheers, as they say.
Cheers.
10 Talks.
Okay. No floor plan, no Wi-Fi. That was the issue. One day on Twitter, I'm not sure if I recall it right, but I think it was a Wi-Fi question from Lee Batman. Hopefully I will met this guy personally one time. The question was what to do if you don't have from your customer the right floor plan, or no floor plan, or not a measured floor plan. What to do then? And my answer to that question was, then there will be no Wi-Fi. If it comes to a request for comment from the customer side, and they don't have any usable floor plans, my answer in general is no. Then I can do nothing for you. We have a commercial situation at the moment where you can do that. Yeah, because some part of the answers on Twitter was, if I say then there's no Wi-Fi, I may be bankrupt after a time, and will not get any tasks to do. So if the discussion with the customer will end, no, I don't have any floor plan, what to do then? And that's what I want to show a little bit. Just to give an idea, because I'm not an expert in using all that tools. I just tried some things out. So what can you do then? Just do a site survey. Yeah. So if you translate site survey to German, it means you come to the site personally and have a look on. Standortbegehung for the Germans. Yeah. So, that not only mean that you will do your access point on a stick thing or your wall loss measurement thing. That will also mean that you have to look to the site, knock to the walls, find out what materials they use in your building to prove that the model you hopefully created before, and this is only possible based on floor plans, of course, that will fit, that the reality will fit to your model. So, and one important point is to take some measurement, because you scaled your model, and you may have scaled it based on the information you have on the floor plan, but never trust. Yeah, take a control. You should do minimum one reference measurement from your building. So, but if you don't have a floor plan, you have to do a site survey the other way, because then you have to create a floor plan. And of course, this will cost additional time, your time. So if a customer is not able to deliver a floor plan and you have to create your own, he has to pay. That's it. So now we are at the demo point. Little laser demo. That was the idea. So I have to switch on the device. And why I have it on a tripod. Yeah, most of you may think laser devices are you just have it in the hip and you shoot to the wall and you know the distance. Yeah, if it comes to, let's say, more than 20 meters and you are getting older a little, you may not see the laser point. Yeah, look at this. So, and the other problem is, hold it still. Yeah, that's sometimes difficult. So that's why it is useful to have such things. If you just measure 5 meters, so it's not a problem. But if you come to, let's say, manufacturing hall, 100 meters long, it may be useful to have such tripod, and you can then change the position of your laser point degree by degree. Yeah? Just to give you an impression. So, and of course, this is not very stable. It's not, the tripod is not the right device. I need one where I can change the level, because I have a little, don't know how to call it in English, to find the right level. Yeah. So this is level. Okay. So, lucky wise. So, that's why the tripod. But for the little demo I try to show now, I will use the device from the hand. So, wait, I have to switch on. So if you want to create your own floor plan from scratch, you can do it with such fancy devices and, of course, an app. You need an iPad in this case. And the app from this particular manufacturer from Switzerland, very cool company. And you may go to the site. Is it done? Yeah. We are already on the site, so and I will try to make this floor plan now. Yeah. Hopefully it will work. So what I have to do first? Most of the rooms are a rectangle. That's cool. If you have a round room, it would be a little difficult. Yeah. So first you have to do a line. And I try to make now, let's say, that wall. So, and now I need to know what is the distance of that wall. So if I do it from this position, I have to find a place where I can do the measurement. And I choose this one, so hopefully I'm connected. So that's not easy. You have to find a place where you can do it, yeah. So, of course, now I'm doing a little failure because the canvas has a little space to the wall, but we are Wi-Fi guys. We don't have to be on the millimeter. Yeah. So, of course, this didn't work, because normally it should show the measurement here. That's stupid. So, try it again. So it is connected via Bluetooth and showing me that it works, so maybe it will not work. Just to give you an idea. Yeah. However, here I have now the measurement in centimeters. So if you are lucky, it will stay with the wall, but I may did something wrong. But now I can put it to that wall. So now I know that that reference wall is right and measured. So now I will take the next one, next line. So, it's not so good. Let's do it back. Yeah, it was the second one. You have to be careful on that. Let's see. I did nothing. Oh, 23 something. Do we see something? Yeah, we have it. Okay. So you see, this takes time. Yeah. This takes time. And maybe now you will get your floor plans after showing that. So what I need this one. Okay. No? Wait, I did something wrong. So, that's the wrong value. Now I have it. You can see, it looks like the room. Yeah, we have a small wall and a wide wall. So now you just can complete it. And for this little sample, you are done. You can now try to, it's not very intuitive. So now you have your floor plan of that, and it shows you everything you may like to know or not, including the Flächeninhalt, Jesus Christ. The area, And the volume. Okay. So if you want to add some more, maybe I can show too. Tools? No. You can set text and markers and things, but I'm looking for, where was it? Yeah, you can make a 3D from it too. You can change everything, but this wasn't, I'm looking for that. If you want to place a door, this also is possible. So, Okay, I will stop that. It should just give an impression how much time it could take to create a new floor plan. There's a separate industry doing that. Just to show you or give you some ideas how to look or where you can look if you are interested in such kind of devices. I choose this because of the length, of the maximum length I could measure, 140 meters, something like that. They have, of course, other devices available. I just want to give you a slightly overview from Leica Geosystems. So I'm using this one. So if you are interested, you should check out this one or this one, the X4 or X3. There they described you can use the same app and you don't need to go to the walls. You can just try to find out measurements going into the circle. And maybe next year, I don't know how long they will need, they will have a device which will look like a phone. And you can take a photo, and it is a stereographic, and you create from the photo a floor plan. That's what they told me. So maybe I can show it next year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Wireless LAN Professionals Podcast, the podcast for wireless LAN professionals by wireless LAN professionals. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Wireless LAN Pros for all the latest news and updates, and also connect directly with Keith on Twitter at Keith R. Parsons. Head over to www.wlanpros.com for this episode's show notes, as well as the latest in all things Wi-Fi.